Hi everyone, it's Tammy at Frou-frou Studio, and today I am back to do another episode of I Saw on Pinterest, and I am going to do something similar to this post or pin by C.G. Mashburn on Pinterest. I am not sure if she created it or if she just pinned it. If you hit the view, there is no source other than her Pinterest folders. Um, so, I'm not able to go beyond, what I see here to see who created it. But what I like about this, first of all, blue and white, or blue and off-white, is one of my favorite color combinations. And I really like, of course, the layering, but the monochromatic look of this. Unfortunately, none of the journals that I'm working on right now have any blue and white in them. So I'm going to make a few of these, and I'm going to adjust them to colors that I'm using in current journals so that I can use them right away and I am not adding to a big stack of ephemera that I already have. So I'm going to be making two for my Christmas in July project, which if you haven't seen any of the previous videos on that one, it is actually going to be a travel journal that I'm taking with me for a Christmas market cruise in Europe later this year. So I have two signatures in that journal, and so I'm going to make two different ones, one for each signature. And then I'm going to make one for my July design team project for Sweet Pea Curiosities. And I'm going to try to get them all three made in this video. But again, we're going to focus on layers. We're going to focus on monochromatic view or monochromatic make that kind of takes one color to be the main focus color, and then of course you're going to have some variation. I think all three of mine are using like a cream color, so let's get started on that and we'll see what we can come up with. I'm going to move my iPad over to the side so that it's not taking up space. We may refer back to it at some point, but I think you could tell by that picture kind of where we're going. I'm going to be doing a green version, a red version, and a pink version. And again, here's my Christmas in July journal. And like I said, it has two signatures. I do have everything kind of laid out where I want it. This is kind of just like the title page or the beginning page. I do have a couple of pockets over here so that I can stuff some stuff in there. And then this is just, more or less like a title page. It says A Christmas Dream 2025 with just a collage. And what I have done is I have these cute little 12 Days of Christmas tags. And it just so happens that the cruise we're going on is 12 days. And so I have put one of these spread throughout the journal. And then I have made tags for each of the stops that we're going to have. Like this one is Zurich. And so I have the tags kind of spread out where I want them. Now, some of them have 2 tags because we're going to be, to the cities that we're going to be there 2 days. And what I want to use the tags for is I want to write on the back of them what we did that particular day. And then I'm going to be making pockets, like some of them I already have made, to stick stuff in that I may collect, you know, during the day at those stops. And also, I'll be adding in pictures using my little printer, and adding pictures and, you know, all the things you get when you go on vacation. So that's my plan. So I want to do 2 of these little tuck spaces, one for each signature, to stick in the journal as well, so that I can tuck stuff behind it. So we'll get them made and then we'll stick them in the journal. So this is the one that I've kind of put together for the green. And what I did is I just went through, mainly I went through my Tim Holtz ephemera for the palette collection and the collage strips, the smaller original collage strips, not the big one. And then for this particular one, I cut my banner out of paper that is already in the journal so that it will match. And I picked something kind of sturdy to use as the background piece. In this case, it's one of the Tim Holtz little journal cards or ATC cards. I forget what he calls these. But I'm using this, and I'm using it with the green side up so that I can keep with the green theme. And then I've got just little pieces. This one has quite a few little Christmas pieces that I had in my Christmas ephemeras. So we're going to put this one together first. And I want a little tab to kind of stick out the pages. So I got this little Tim Holtz label that is going to be the first piece that I glue down because it is going to be on the bottom. So, am I going to ink? Not every piece, I don't think. But I am going to ink this tag because it has like little white edges. So hope everyone is doing good. I am running so far behind this month because I had so many things to get done out of the craft room that I've now put myself in a bind to get my July journals finished, which, you know, I don't have to finish them by the end of July, but if I don't, it's going to make me feel like that I didn't accomplish my goals. So I'm going to try my best to get everything finished. By the end of the month, so I can start August with my new projects. Okay, this is also Tim Holtz piece. I did make it a little bit more narrow than it actually comes. It is in that palette kit. And I am inking around the white edges on that. And then that piece is going to be the next one down. Now, a lot of these pieces, you're not going to see the whole thing. you may just see little peaks of it, but that's the point of kind of layering. You want to, you know, kind of see what's there without, you know, leave a little bit of guesswork in it. Now, this is digital that I had stuck in my ephemera, Christmas ephemera. And it is an advertisement for door knockers. And it's talking about Marley's Ghost, Craven Street. Because, you know, he appears as the door knocker at first. And we're going to put it on here. I gotta figure out where I want it to be glued. I think about right there. No, I think I want it over a little bit more. Okay, so we'll put some glue on that. So you guys fired in the heat. Extremely hot here. We're supposed to get a break next week from all the heat after we suffer miserably at the first part of the week. It feels like over 100 a couple of days. So I hope that holds to be true. Okay, now I have this kind of banner piece that I cut from just paper that I'm using in the kit. And I'm going to put it about right like that, I think. It's really cold in my craft room though. I have like a little blanket that I can put over my legs. Usually I'm like in capri length, like leggings or whatever in a t-shirt. But today I have on shorts up here and I'm about to freeze. But I'm always about to freeze in the air conditioners. So I think I've said this before, I can't be satisfied because if I go outside I'm burning up, and if I'm inside I'm freezing. But I'd rather be inside and be able to cover up my legs than be outside and be dying of sweat. I guess I shouldn't say sweat. That's not very feminine, is it? Very ladylike, I guess. In the South, they say glisten. I'm glistening, or I've got the vapors, or something like that. something silly. Okay, I'm going to move this onto here. This again is a little piece that I had in my Christmas ephemera. And then the little sentiment on here that says out for the holiday is from the Tim Holtz Christmas I don't know what it's called. What is it called? Let's look. From this book, Christmas Noel. And it's got a bunch of different things in it. It's got labels and letters and tags and stuff like that. So that's what that's from. And then I just stamped this little ring on this tea-dyed paper, and I punched this number 3 out of one of the Tim Holtz ephemera pieces because I felt like it needed some sort of border around it to make it stand out a little more. And I'm going to put it right there. Have it hang over just a tad. And then I've got this little frame that is also out of the palette collection. And if you don't have the palette collection, that was kind of his purpose of doing it. It does have several pieces of ephemera that are in several different colors that you can put together to make collage or tags or whatever you like. Oh, I don't want that to cover up my sentiment, but it's going to cover up my, oh, I can get it off because I didn't glue it on. Okay. That'll work. And then we'll put it back on. I just stuck it on there. I didn't glue it. And these don't stick very well if you don't glue them. So that's good. Then we're just going to put it right back down. Okay, so now when I go to glue this down, I will glue it here like that, and it'll be a tuck. And this will hang over the edge. So that's our first one. I like it. Alright, so for the next one, we're going to do red. And again, this is going to be for my Christmas journal. So I pulled out a bunch of red ephemera. Red and tan, or kind of a taupey creamy color. This is in the palette kit. Now, if you don't want to waste something like this on the background, which is going to show very little, just use a piece of cardstock or a piece of scrapbook paper that you may not be crazy about, and because you're going to cover most of it anyway, and you could always put some stamping on it or something like that. I have about 3 of these particular pieces, the same one, so I don't care to use one of them for this. So I'm going to go ahead and use that for my base piece. You'll want to have a base piece, though, in my opinion, that is, you know, going to be able to carry your whole kind of tuck space, so that when you do, you know, glue it down as a tuck space, you've got that good sturdy base and also kind of a smooth surface, so you're not getting caught on all of these little bitty parts. Now, you could wait till you got them all put together, and then you could take one piece and cover everything. That's up to you guys and how you prefer to work, of course, but just a reminder that you do kind of want a smooth back on there for moving things in and out. Okay, so for this one, I want to put this piece down. Behind here is my tab. I think I'm going to put this one more toward the bottom. So let's ink that. Put that on. So as I was getting things ready for this video, I was watching Lonesome Dove. I don't watch a lot of westerns, but it has always been one of my favorites. And I forgot about the scene where the Irish kid gets in the river to cross the river, and he gets attacked by water moccasins. And I know you've heard me say this before, but snakes freak me out like that. And I think it is growing up in the South, and particularly by water, where we had to check our pool to make sure we didn't have a water moccasin in there before we got in the water. They were terrible, and they would fall out of the trees into your boat, and it's just, I think that has what has totally done me in when it comes to snakes. But anyway, so I'm watching, and you know, that part comes along, and the worst part of that is, I don't know if you guys have seen Lonesome Dove or not, and I don't mean to be a spoiler if you have not, but the worst part of that is when that snake, big old water moccasin, jumps up and bites him in the face. It totally creeps me out. I forgot about it, and of course I'm watching it and I see it, and I had to turn the channel on the TV because it just freaked me out. So I just flipped it to something else. And what's on there? A snake. I'm like, are you kidding me? So, yeah, I have been totally flipped out by snakes all morning. Okay, so enough with the snake talk. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. This is Tim Holtz ephemera, and it's out of the Christmas ephemera. So I'm going to put this on here just for another layer and another little strip. So, do you all get freaked out by snakes? It's not as bad you know, living where I live now, even though they're out there, I have only seen one in my yard since we moved here, and it was a little bitty tiny one, and it was dead. Which is the only kind of snake I like, a dead one. So, and I'm not near enough to water to have to worry about water moccasins or anything like that. So, I'm good. And we have a ton of hawks that live in the woods right behind me. So even if there were, and I'm sure there are, snakes out there, I'd say they stay pretty well hidden so they don't get eaten by the hawks and the owls, which is just fine with me. Those hawks and those owls can have just as many as they want, in my opinion. And I know people are gonna say, oh, but they're harmless, da 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 da. Nope, don't like them. Never will. Alright, so I'm just continuing to kind of layer things up and make my little tuck here. That's, I guess, kind of like a tab tuck, if you want to. Give it a particular name, because we're going to have, you know, it's going to be a tab, like a tab on the page, but it's also going to be a tuck at the same time. Okay, I need to put this round piece down first. And just remember, when you're doing this, you don't have to see all of everything that you're putting down. That's not the point of layering. And, you know, there might be some ephemera that you have that you don't want to cover up. For example, that back piece, you can see little bits of it, but you can't see a lot of it. And like I said, if I'd have had only one, I'd probably pick something different. But the fact that I had 3 of them, you know, I don't mind using one for this. We're just going to continue. Why did I pick the items that I picked to use for this? No particular reason, other than they are the colors that I wanted to use. And they're things that I like, stamps, tickets, you know, and they're things that I thought worked well together. So just take out all your pieces that you think you might be able to work with or you might like, and just kind of, you know, play around with them, see if you like them together, you know, see if you have something that looks particularly better with one thing than another. You know, there's no rhyme or reason. Now, I am using the star because there's stars here and it says red star, and I just thought that was would look cute together. Then the last thing I want to add is this number right here. And I think I'll put it right across where it says The Wonderful, because The Wonderful doesn't really make sense now that we have the tails part covered up there. So if we put it up here, now it just says Christmas, and that works a lot better. All right, so there's number 2. Now let's do our pink version. And then we'll put them in the journal. So, let me grab my stuff here. I can pick it all up without throwing it all over the floor. Alright, again, most of these are palette pieces or collage strip pieces from 10 Holtz. I've got this one that says artistic photographer on it. That's going to be our background piece. And then I took one of the collage strips and cut it, the bottom of it, to look like a banner for our banner piece. And you don't have to cut these to look like a banner. The pen had a piece of banner on there, and I just like the addition of the shape of a banner. And then I have this piece, which is one of the paper strips, I think he calls these. They're just little narrow cardstock paper strips that he has in all kinds of different patterns that matches paper. And I'm going to put that there, I believe. And then this is going to be my little tab. And it's like a, it's like a claim check. And that's going to be what's going to hang over as my tab. And then I have this little hotel card, which is in the palette kit. Ink that up a little bit. And I'm going to put it behind here somewhere. I think toward the bottom. And then I have this little, this is like a deck chair number, like if you're on a cruise. And they assign you a deck chair. It's a 10 Holtz piece. It's not a real one. I don't know that they do that anymore in real life. I've not been on a cruise where you have deck chairs. My last cruise was to Alaska. And let's just say we weren't sunning much on the deck. Alright, and then this picture, this photograph is from the kit. Sweet Peas kit. And I thought that was a cute focal point. And then I have a couple of stamps, and these stamps are all also from the kit. I pulled this one out, but I don't like the color of it, so I'm going to save it for a future one. But I am going to put these 2 little stamps on here, I believe. Yep. Okay, so let's glue this one together. Yeah, I've never taken a cruise like during the summer or to the Caribbean or anything like that. That's just not my jam. I don't believe. I'm gonna take the time to go on vacation and do a cruise or whatever. I would rather it be going someplace that is historical or something like that than just going and laying on the beach somewhere. Not that I don't like the beach. I love the beach. I grew up there. But if I'm going to spend money to go on a cruise, I want it to be something more than just going to the beach somewhere or some tropical place where it's 100 degrees and not comfortable and has nothing that piques my interest. I mean, you know, we all know that when I go on vacation, I like to go junking and antiquing and stuff like that in whatever city or place I may be in, and so that's my focus when I go someplace like that. And fortunately, my husband likes it as well, so that's something that we enjoy doing together when we're on vacation, especially if you have rainy days. Gosh, rainy days are perfect for, you know, visiting local thrift stores and antique shops and flea markets. And there's a lot of indoor flea markets, not just outside. So, yep. That's my idea of a vacation. My husband's idea of a vacation is trying out the foods, all the local foods, especially in Europe. He loves European food, and that is the highlight of his trip, is to get to eat all the local foodie stuff and try the local beers. So as long as he gets to do that, he's good with it. And he likes to sit too and just people watch, which is also a lot of fun. You know, especially if you're out of the country where people's traditions and actions and things like that are different than they are here. And I don't mean to say that we're sitting and making fun of people, because that's not the case at all. We just find it very interesting to set out in the mornings especially and, you know, have our coffee or tea or whatever and just watch the hustle and bustle of whatever city we may be in, to see how they start their day and how they get going, and that kind of thing, and how they shop in the markets every day for their, you know, whatever they're gonna have for dinner or whatever. It's not like here where we go to the grocery store every day or once a week or however often we go, and get stuff for a week or whatever. Most of them are shopping at markets every day on their way home because the refrigerators and things like that are so small that they can't hold all those groceries. And it's fresh. It's right there. It's prepared daily. And you can get anything in the world that you want on your way walking home from work. So why not? Why not stop and pick up a fresh loaf of bread and some cheese and some, some kind of meat, and fruits and vegetables and flowers, fresh flowers, and just anything that you can think of that you need or, in the markets on the way home. So I think that's kind of cool. And my husband was stationed in Europe for quite a few years, and he kind of, was shopping that way as well. And he still shops that way a lot. He would rather go to the store 3 or 4 times a week and get, a couple meals for the week than to go and shop for a week or two. So that's something he enjoys, not me. I hate the grocery store, but luckily he is a good man and he does that, and I don't ever have to go, and that's a wonderful thing. Okay, so pink, red, green. So let's see where we're going to put them. We'll start with the Christmas journal. I'm being quite gabby today. Sorry about that if I'm boring you to death with my conversation. I don't know why I'm being so gabby, but I am. Okay, so we need to find a place to put our green one. So I'm thinking we probably want... Okay, we have to be in the first signature. Or we don't have to be. We could put the green one in the second signature if we wanted to. But I just want to be sure and get one in each signature. Okay, so, and I'm thinking we probably want a green page. How about here? Nope, wrong side. I can put it over here though. How would that look? And how would that look with this tag, which is Strasbourg, which I don't have to put this tag behind there. Let's see. Ooh, it'll look good on that page, but that page has red. Would that matter? I could put it over here. And then we'd have our basil tag behind it. And that has a little bit of red, but that'd be okay at this point. And I did put a paper clip on each one of these pages. I could put it in the center. So that I would have a clip, not each one, but each stop, so that I would have a clip to clip my whatever I collected, if I don't have time to glue it in, or if it's something like a pamphlet or whatever that I don't want to take apart and I don't want to glue in, then I will just clip it in there. I kind of like it right here. This is the center of the first one, which is all book page. But I kind of like the way that looks. So I think I'll put this in here. So I would just want to glue here and across the bottom. Just like that, and make that hang over the page just ever so slightly. And now we have the tuck right here that we can put stuff in. So what did I do on the other center? On the other center, we have red, and that works out. So I'm going to put this one here. Now, you can see because of the way I put my tabs, I kind of forced my way into having to put it on this side of the page. So be thinking about that when you're making these, and if you want them to be on the other side of the page, you would want to put your tab over here. Okay, so now we have a tuck here, and I may glue more of that down. Once that dries, I'll check it again. I may glue this part down and leave it just open right there. I think I will. Okay, so, oops, I missed that little point on there. So there's our red and green one. You can see, got nice little tucks. Now let's look at the pink one. Now, I have actually 3 signatures in this journal, but I only made one of these, so I may go back and make a couple more, or we may just leave it depending on, I think I want it in the center signature because I don't have one of those pink envelopes. I could put it here. In the center. I really like them in the center. And then I could stick this envelope behind it if I wanted, or I have a plainer one that I could do. So let's do this one here. Just like that. And then, like I said, we could stick this one in here when it dries. Like that. Or I do have a couple of plainer ones, I believe, that I haven't used. That I can put less embellishment on, like that one. And stick it behind. Or I have this journal card, which is what I originally pulled out to stick behind. And I could stick that there. I may do that. Okay, so there we go. We have 3 little tab tucks is what I'm going to call them, because I don't know what else to call them. But I think those came out really good, and I like the monochromatic look. I've done some of that before in journals and in pages, and always think it looks really cool to do that. And, you know, blue and white, like I said, is my favorite, but I don't have a blue and white journal going right now, so I think these turned out just as well. I really like these 2 and how they turned out in here. I think the green works really well with the aged color of this book. And I like the red on the red as well. I can find the center. Would help if you got in the second signature. Yeah. So, and that will be at some point broken up by whatever I put behind here. And so it won't be so much red, but I like it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And thanks for joining me today and putting up with my gabbiness. And I will see you guys back in a couple days for the next video. Until then, stay cool and see you soon. Bye.